So we've got a bit of an interesting one today. So we'll talk about it in a second. Obviously, you're here. What's the plan? I've just realised I've forgotten to update. I've forgotten to update this slide, so I do apologise. So it's not going to be the one at the bottom. It's all good. And look at this. Yes, we've got somebody watching that. So
after holidays,
Neo4j is watching from his lunch break. Hello.
Nice. Enjoy your lunch break.
Yeah, happy lunch.
Happy
We've
lunch.
got Chepa from Kenya. Hello, Chepa.
Wow,
we have
Kenya,
got
cool. Thanks for joining.
Saba as well.
Yeah,
yes, holidays.
Saba has still holidays, so you get the envy of everybody else watching. So enjoy your holidays.
Yeah, where are you on holiday?
Exactly. Where are you?
Yeah. So
vacation, or are you going somewhere, or did you go somewhere?
Exactly. So do a quick recap of what Neo4j Aura 3 is. We're going to pick a data set. Sorry, I forgot to update this. If you've got a data set you want us to explore, let us know. So either drop it in the chat now, tweet us. So it's either at Alexander Erdl or at El Lazal. So if you've got data set, ping us on there or drop us a message on the chat. So what we're going to do, we're going to pick a data set. So we've got a very random data set. And then we're going to think about what questions we're going to ask with that data set. We're then going to use that to determine what would be the data model off of that. We're going to load and query that data. So very quickly, what is Neo4j Aura 3? So Alex, would you like to tell us about Aura 3?
Yeah, Aura 3 is our free edition, free version of Neo4j Aura, which is our offering of Neo4j in the cloud, so the graph database as a service, if you will. We have a couple of tiers there available for everybody, from the free one, which we are looking at now, to up to Enterprise Edition. You get with the free one, you get a forever free, so it's with you forever as long as you like to have it running. You get a limitation of 50,000 nodes and 175,000 relationships, so that's basically the only real hard limit, which stops you a little bit if you on whatever you want to do with it. But everything else is fully available for you, so that's no restraints. So you have access to Bloom as well as obviously browser, so you can query your data with both tools. So it's pretty cool. Like I said, it stays with you, unlike the sandbox maybe, which closes down after a few days. And all you need to do is go to this link right here. I'll also link it in the chat. And you go there, and then you can start your own database and get going.
Exactly. So, what we're going to be looking at. So I'll probably tell you a little bit of a story about what happened here. So,
how did you find this data set?
Oh, I love this. So welcome to the stream. So Neg Hobart, I hope I'm saying that correctly. So apparently you're surprised by the stream, so welcome. So generally we hold this at this time every Monday. So yeah, we pick a different data set. So if you've got a data set you want us to look at, pop it in the chat. Don't have to, if you can't think of it now, but you think of it next week, that's fine. But yes, so how did I find this data set, you may be wondering? I literally, so what I've started doing is I will literally go to Google. Other search engines are valid too. And I just put in CSV data set. So that is literally what I put in. And I was like having a look around. And what's really great is you get a lot of government websites from around the world, different countries, and they've all got different data sets. And I found that you had this stats.gov.nz. So this is a stats website, data website managed by the New Zealand government. And I was just having a quick flick through, and they had one of this electronic card transactions for July 2021. And I thought, what the heck? Let's go with that. So there you go. So no rhyme or reason. I literally just was looking at random, things. And I thought that caught my eye. So this is the website. So let me pop it in as well for those of you who are joining along. And so basically, you go on here, you have a bunch of data. So one thing I will say, and I'm still trying to wrap my head around this, so it's going to be a bit of an interesting and patchy session today, but that's fine. So I couldn't find a definitive data dictionary to explain all of the headers, but you know what? That's fine. We're going to figure it out together. And this is more exploration and figuring it out. So the idea is that you have got the tools to go away, and if you've got a data you want to play with, you've got a rough idea of how you can get started. So we're showing you all of this stuff, you know, so these are all of the free tools. You don't need to download anything, you don't need to install anything. This is the whole goal of this. If you want to just start grabbing data and playing with it, you can. So this is the site here, electronic card transactions. And this looks
so it's basically people that have bought stuff with their credit or debit cards with at a merchant in New Zealand. So
exactly.
all the shopping, I guess items probably, I don't know, but that's pretty cool, interesting. That's really interesting. Yeah, I didn't know that this kind of data would be freely available, but this is cool.
Exactly. So we've got a bit of fun data here, so you can see. So what you'll find is you'll have, you know, they do like per month sort of groupings, what people are spending on, what kind of things. So consumables, fuel. The fuel going up is no surprise. We can pontificate as to why, but you get the idea. So these are the kinds of things in there in that data. And for us to access that data, we're going to use this file. So let's have a quick peek at the data. So I'm just going to copy this link. So I'm going to do copy link address. And then here I am over into Aura. So I've already deleted the data that we looked at last time around. So what I'm going to do is let's have a quick peek at the data. So load CSV with headers from, whoops, put in our address as row, and then we're going to return row. Right, let's do this. I should have done it as a lower header row. That's
it's a zip file. I don't know if can that.
No, zip files. It should be fine. So generally, it will be able to download. So normally, what's happened in the past is you can download the zip and it will deal with it. But oh no! Don't tell me that our session has come to a crashing end already.
Wouldn't be good.
I'd like to point out nothing's been tested. So this is
obviously.
This is live. You know, this is the whole point. It's supposed to be live. Hang on. Let me just check. Do I need to do something? Load CSV, cipher, zip. Let's have a quick look if I need to do something magical. Because usually, so load CSV should support compressed files.
Okay, good.
So let me just check if I need to do something special. Actually, well, let me just I'll bring the doc out. So this is what I'm looking at. So I use Google as my documentation engine. I think everybody does. And I just put in load CSV, cipher, zip. So let's have a quick peek. What do we say about compressed files? So you say that. So there you go. So load CSV supports compressed with gzip and data. So support locally stored CSV files compressed with zip. So let's see. So for some reason it's not working here. So, I'm sad. Right, I'm going to do something that we don't normally do because I'd rather not do the whole. I'd rather not do the whole sort of uploading it in different places because that kind of defeats the whole purpose of this session where we are playing with data live off of some source we've grabbed. But for the purposes of getting us going, I'm just going to quickly get this up onto my GitHub repo very quickly. So I don't know, Alex, if you want to talk a little bit about how people can look at previous episodes.
Yes, totally. Yeah, I'll talk about it while you download the file. So yeah, we share in the description, but also in the video description, you see a link to this GitHub repository that Lju set up, and this is containing all our previous sessions with the notes and annotations. So there you find what we did over the last couple of weeks. With the different data sets, where we had them, where we got them from, what we did during the session. So what kind of queries did we work on, what kind of questions did we ask, and then obviously we cleaned up the code a little bit during the live session. Sometimes, we did a few things here and there that wasn't as perfect, but Lju cleaned it all up and summarized it perfectly fine in this documentation. So you can basically go ahead and and check out this repository and pick any data set you are interested in, anything you are eager to try out yourself. You can basically follow along what we did during the live stream and have the same experience basically. And then you have also, if you don't have a data set yourself, you wanna try, you can use one of these. These are all freely available for you to import into Aura, and it's super easy. I mean, like you see in a second, and then you can play with that data set on your Aura instance yourself, and then see, different questions, different things you want to ask. So Lju has now imported this digital card transaction data set into this repository, so we can access it and load it up, and then we can check out what actually these files, this file looks like, and what kind of rows do we have, what kind of data points.
Yeah, thanks for that, Alex. So yeah, I've sneakily now chucked it up into a miscellaneous repo I have for just dumping data and whatever else in there. So you've got the link there. So let's have a quick look at what we've got in here. So I've replaced the link there. So again, so you're not having to download anything. You can use this link. So when we do the write-up for this session in this repo here, so I'll just quickly give you the link. So you can read up on all the stuff we've done previously there. So you can see, look, we've got all the different weeks that we've done. So NBA data, Board Game Geek, the Carolina Carlson chess game. That was another random data set by request of, oh my goodness, of God, somebody requested that on the stream. So we did the chess related one. This was Resonate. So you get the idea, you can have a look. And as Alex was saying, you get, talk about the data set. We've got the model we came up with. We give you all of the queries so you can replicate what we do. And this will be the same for this session as well.
Yep.
Okay, so here's our data. And you can see we've got some various things here. So what we've got an identifier here. So some of these things I'm not entirely sure what they mean, but that's okay. So for the purposes of us just having a play and loading the data, that's fine. So we've got a series reference, and this repeats for a number of things. So we can have a look and see what that does. We've got the subject, so it's electronic card transaction. And what you'll find as well is that in the series title one, we get different fields. So I'm going to show you quickly when we go through that data to see what comes up. We have got the, so we've got various things. And so this series title one, this is where you start seeing things like fuel and that kind of thing. And we've also got the data value, which I believe is the financial sums spent. And we've got period as well. So this is the month of that transaction or thing happening. So you can see here we've got lots of different things. You can see we've got lots of nulls. That's okay. We're going to show you how we deal with those. We may not even worry about those fields, to be honest with you. But you kind of get an idea. So it's a bit of a weird data set. We're still trying to find the data dictionary for this, but that adds to the adventure here. So let's have a quick look at what's going on. So let's have a look at, oops. Actually, I want to keep that up because we can have a sample of looking back at what happened. So let me just write distinct correctly. Distinct. Let's return. Oh gosh, look at that. I've got my keys in the wrong place. So distinct. There we go. Row dot. Let's have a look at series title one. Let's see what comes back with that. So you can see here we've got three things, so we're probably not too worried about those. So we've got actuals, which is probably something we'll grab. Seasonally adjusted, I assume they're doing some kind of adjustment to a value with regards to where it sits, and trend, obviously, part of the trend. So we're probably going to be filtering down by actual when we're doing stuff. Mm-hmm. Then what else have we got? We have got, what else do we have?
Title 2, I don't know what this title 2.
Yeah, let's have a look at subject, and then we'll look at title 2. So let's just bring this back. Oh, let's do subject title 2 actually, because that's just a quick change.
That's easy, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so here we go. So we've got, so this is where it becomes really exciting because we've got all sorts of interesting things popping up. So maybe we should get the title 1 and title 2 together to see how they gather, because you can see we've got RTS total industries, Then we've got things about, did I pay with a credit card? Did I pay with a debit card? Then you've got consumables. So this is then the actual thing. So consumables, durables, hospitality services, motor vehicle, excluding fuel, that kind of thing. So let's just quickly expand a bit with this. I'm just going to copy this and do. I'm hoping this is going to do what I think it's going to do. So I'm hoping we can get like a gathering of what happened. So, all right. So we get actuals against industries, core industries, total, credit, debit, consumables, durables. So I have a theory here, and I think we're probably got how to describe it. I have a suspicion that we probably have repeating data going on here. So let's try to think how we can filter, just so that we can try and understand what's going on with the data before we go in and ask some questions of the data. So I have a suspicion, because we had that ID as well, didn't we? So what was the ID called? That was where was the ID? There we go. Series reference.
Yeah.
So if we do, let's do row dot and something like this, I think. And something like this. I can't spell today at all.
So you're basically collecting the individual lines.
Yeah, occurrences.
Yeah.
Oh, that did not do what I thought it was going to do. Well, that's exciting. All right, I have a suspicion actually that this data that I've pulled is basically the data you'd need to recreate the chart that they've got. That's fine. So you know what? Let's not worry too much about pulling some interesting meaning off of the data. Let's just look at this at face value and just sort of figure out what questions would we ask of this, and then we'll continue. So might not be the most useful exercise, but it's a useful exercise with regards to that process of what questions we're going to ask them. Based on the questions, what's our data model going to look like? And then when we've done the data model, we load the data and then we run the queries to answer those questions. So let's do that. So putting you in the hot seat, Alex. So what questions would you ask of this data?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think probably the series title too, the industries and the travel and whatever else. I think that could be interesting to see. And it seems like there is a time, a period with it. So I guess what we could ask is in which months was which which travel or something else was more what was higher demand or something was more.
So per month, what was the highest spend category?
Something like that. Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Let's think of another question as well. So we'll stick with maybe 2-3 questions. So if anyone watching the stream, if you've got a question you'd like to ask, pop it in the chat. You know, we'd love your questions. So what might I ask? I'm going to pick a dull one, which is credit card versus debit card.
Oh yeah, but that's a good idea. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I want to do credit card versus debit card, and we can then group by, per sort of category. Do people tend to use credit card more or debit card more? Spend more on credit or debit? Okay, let's do that. So I think we'll stick with those two for now, because I think we're probably going to have a bit of fun wrangling this data set. So
yeah,
excellent. Excellent. So let's pop over to arrows. So you can basically access this by going to arrows.app. So I'll just quickly pop the link in the chat. So this is a really handy graph diagramming tool, and I use it a lot for modeling. So the nice thing about when you're doing a data model is you don't have to use a special tool. You can use pen and paper. That works nicely. You've got whiteboard where, hey, it's easier to do corrections on that. You can use arrows as well. And this is typically what I will use. And it's quite nice because, as you will probably see if you look in the repo, is I'll give you a link to the data model that we worked with or a corrected one, and you can go off and do your own changes and tweaks. So it's really powerful for that. So it's great fun to use that. So that's what we're using here. And let's get cracking. So I think if we go back to our data, so I don't know what the ID adds, so I will probably keep the ID in there for now, just because I'm not sure what it does, but we'll keep it just in case. So let's do series reference. And that's going to have a value. And then series reference has... Actually, we can probably put the value in here as well. Let's put ID so we don't get confused. And then value will be the dollars value.
The amount, you mean?
Yeah, that's the amount. So value amount, that's one there. Then we've got an idea of a category, don't we? So
yeah.
And that has a type. We have a date as well, don't we? Because some of the questions we're looking at, we have a date. So where do we want to put the date?
Yeah, I would probably offer new, like this.
Yeah, I'm thinking probably I would do that. Yeah, has date, and that will be. And has value, and then we've got the other one. So we've got the which per month was a high spend category. So we've got this is the this gives us our data for that. This gives us our category. This is our reference point with the value. And then the other one I was asking about per category, do people spend more on credit or debit? So, we've got a number of choices about how we add in the credit or debit value.
Yeah, we could put it as exactly like a property to here.
We could do it as a property. We could do it as a label. We did that the other day. We did it as a label. We could add it as a node as well. So choices, choices, choices. And I'm thinking...
It's probably not too the data set. I don't know how big it is. Maybe a property could be fine, but a separate node could be...
I'd do it as a property, yeah. And then, because I was thinking as a label, actually, but...
Or a label, yeah.
Let's do it as a property for now. Keep our graph nice and small. So here's our graph. Happy days. And let's now figure out about loading some data in. Oh, we've got a question here as well. Neo4j Aura asks, which is better, putting the data inside the property or in a separate node and refer to it? Oh, that is the $1 million question. And it's a very good question because the answer is it depends. And it depends on a lot of things. So very quickly, if we think about what happens under the hood when you are doing a query, and then this is going to very much drive how you approach things. So when you put in a query, so if we did a query about series reference has category, so let's say we wanted to pull back all of the series references that had a category type fuel. Why not? So what happens under the hood is when you put in that cipher query is the first thing it will do is if you've specified a node label, so here series reference is a node label, dates a node label, categories a node label. The first thing the engine's going to do is it's going to just pull up the nodes into memory that have that node label. That's the first thing it will do. So it's very good practice. Whilst you don't have to specify a node label in your query, if you do, you're helping out the engine and saying, look, I'm only interested in nodes with this label. So it immediately disregards all of the other nodes that don't have that label. Then it'll do the same thing with relationship types as well. So you don't have to specify a relationship type, but if you do, you are letting the engine know that it can ignore all of the other relationship types that are available, that are coming off of that node. So just go, yep, get rid of that. And then kind of the last step that the engine will do when doing a query is it then does a lookup in the property store. So what happens is once the engine has filtered by label type if you've provided, and it's filtered by relationship type if you have it, it will then check on properties. Now, if you've got an index on your property, so we recommend that you put in a constraint or an index on a unique identifier for your node. So for example, here, the unique identifier would potentially be ID for this node, not specifically for this data set, but here the unique identifier would be the value for date. Here, the unique identifier would be for the category. So we'd normally, if you've got lots of things in there, we'd recommend you put an index. So let's say you had customer ID and you've got millions of customers, we would recommend you put an index or a constraint on customer ID, because then what happens is the engine, you know what index is, we'll build an index tree for that. And then rather than going and having a look in the store, the engine will go off and look at the index tree and go, aha, right, this is where that property lives, and picks that up. Then the last stage is if you don't have indexes and you are referring to a property, the engine will then go off and do that lookup in the store. So coming back to your original question of what's better, putting data inside the property or on a separate node and refer to it, is if you find yourself doing lots of queries against a particular property, now, bearing in mind of all of the things that are going on in the background, it will probably make the most sense to have it as a separate node for lookup purposes, just because of the fact that you will do things like put an index on it, and indexing isn't free. You pay the cost at the time of write when you put in an index. If you have a finite number of things, it might make sense if you're treating it as a category, maybe you put a label on it. If you've got a property where you've got lots of it, but you know what, you don't tend to refer to it very often, it's not an index, it's not something you'd put an index on top of, then if you're not doing it, you're not querying it very often, then maybe you decide, well, actually, I don't mind it being a bit slower because I run that query very, very rarely. So it very much is an it depends question. And we've got a bunch of content on thinking about the modeling process. So do check out our Graph Academy website. So I think if you go to dev.neo4j.com/learn, you'll get an access to the Graph Academy stuff there, and you'll see we've got a course on modeling. So hopefully that helps. Okay, so we have got our model here. Let's go and load some data. So we've got the series reference, so we've got the value. It was in series title A that had the actuals, wasn't it?
The title one, yeah.
Yeah, so let's have a quick peek at how many of those we've got. So if we do series title 1, actually no, I don't want to do that. I want to do this, don't I? Where? So title 1 equals return. How many got the return count? Row. How many have we got with actuals in there? Oh dear, what have we done? Oh, hang on. Do I need to do? I probably need to do that. That'll make it a bit happier. There we go. So, okay, we've got 929,236 rows. So, let's inquire a bit further. So, let's do return row dot series title 2. And we also need to find out where the credit cards live. Oh, I should have put a distinct in there. Okay, right. So
yeah, do we know? Yeah, exactly. Do we? Yeah. Here it is. Credit. But it's mixed up with the other stuff.
It's mixed up, isn't it? This is going to be fun, isn't it?
So, but we didn't find out that we had duplicate IDs. So that means what
I'm going to do is just return a couple of bits. So if we do let's return a series reference. So I think we said that that's probably, oh, this is not at all annoying. Hang on. Series reference, let's return, I'm going to get rid of this distinct. So I think what's happening here is, because we said this might be row by row. So if we do reference, let's do row dot series title 2. Let's do period and data value.
I mean, there's another one that's called group. I don't know what group.
Hang on. What's the name of the value on? Data value.
Yeah.
See what comes back. You said group.
There is one. I mean, if you scroll down a little bit, you see there is one called group, and that I don't know what that means exactly, but it gives the.
We can return it. It doesn't hurt. Oh, please stop doing this. All right. Okay, so we have got by month, we've got by value, we've got group.
Okay, these are the same. The series reference is repeating after all. Okay.
Yeah, so I think this is all the table data, which is a shame, but that's fine. We can still. So yeah, so unfortunately we can't. All right, so I don't think we're going to be able to answer my question, but we will be able to answer your question. So let's work on that. So what we're going to do is we'll treat all of these as the category. Yeah, we'll treat all of these as a category type.
Mm-hmm.
We can load the period. We can load the data value. Yeah, okay, so it's not quite going to be perfect, but you know what? It's fine. So we've got this, so let's just quickly adapt this. So let's do merge C category. And we're going to do, let's do, we said type. It's going to be row dot series title 2.
Yep.
We are going to do merge the date value is going to be, or how do we want to do this? That's fine. It's almost ISO, so we'll leave it as a string. row dot period. And then we're going to do a create. And what did we say we were going to call this node? Series reference, terrible name. I call it series. We'll call it series reference. I'll call it something sensible when I write it up later. Series reference, and we had in there a value. We can't do card type, so we're literally just going to have. We can put in the series reference, and we can put in the data value, and that's what we have, unfortunately, but it's all good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
We can still answer something. Let's go with row dot series reference, and we are going to do the value, and we're going to float this because this will be treated as a string, and we want it as a numerical value. So we'll cast it to float. It's going to be row dot data value, and then we're going to hook it all together. So we are going to say that create S has date, and we're going to do create S as category C.
Yep. So we basically have now recreated, or we will recreate the the model we drawn earlier in arrows, and have it in Neo4j as our data set.
Indeed. So what's going on here? There we go. Right. So let's see if this is going to run first time. Oh, let's see if it's going to come out sensibly.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that was quick.
It did,
okay.
It did finish. Yeah.
Wow, that was fast for my very inefficient query. So let's see what's come back. So let's have a look at category. Got 20 nodes. I think that's roughly what we were expecting. And let's have a look at date. We've got about 25 different dates. Okay, cool.
Well, these are limit, so I don't know. I guess these are.
No. So, oh yeah, it's 20. No, you're right. So we've got 20 nodes, and then let's take the limit off. You are very correct there. So let's get rid of this. And I mean, I imagine you probably got maybe a couple hundred. Yeah. So we got about 260 data nodes, which makes sense because I think you've got quite a lot of historical data there.
Yeah, it looks like it goes back to 2001 or something. So I guess
makes sense.
20 years of months basically.
Brilliant. Okay, so that's our data loaded in, and we can do call db.visualization, and that should show us what it looks like.
Yeah, and we should see similar representation than we saw in arrows.
Yeah, there we go. So we've got our date node here, we've got a series reference node here, we've got a category here. So we are in business.
Very good.
Right. Let's go on to your question then, Alex.
Let's see if we can answer that.
Yeah. So what we can see here. So what we need to do. So your question was to have a look per month. What was the highest spend category?
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to be accessing month node from here. We've got the category here, and we've got the value in here. So we are going to do something along the lines of match the date. And I know I said always specify the relationship type, but I'm being lazy, and I know there's only one relationship type that comes between those two nodes. So I'm not going to specify the relationship type, but I know what the data is.
Probably not needed in this.
One relationship type.
Yeah.
I can be super lazy here because I know that there's only going to be one node type coming out there, so I can probably even skip the node label here. This is terrible. And therefore we know, oh yeah, so
I don't know if did we lose Lju, or is my oh, here we go. Oh, back. She's back. 1 second. We lost you for a second, Lju.
I just noticed, yeah, the screen went.
Yeah.
Don't worry, I haven't done anything, so we're good. We've not missed anything. Okay, so we're getting the date, we're going to get the series reference, I'm going to get the category. So we're matching everything in our database like that. So this is going to pull everything from the database. And then what we're going to do is we're going to say we want to, oh goodness, this is going to be a several part query. So let's bring this back, and let's bring back the date. So let's return d.value. Let's return s.value, which is going to be the money. Let's make this a bit user friendly. So let's do as date, as spend, and c.value. Oh, it's type, wasn't it? c.type as order by date, and then category. We can do that to begin with. And then we'll show you how we're going to pull out just each category. So to begin with, this is, oh, what did I put did I put it as something else? Let's quickly check my load query. Oh, what did we say? Oh, oh dear.
Data value.
It's not loaded the data value. So what did I do wrong there?
Value.
All right, let's quickly go back to that. But you can see the idea. So let's just quickly make sure we're working properly. But you can see how we're pulling back those, and then I'll show you how we're going to limit it. But we need some values first, otherwise this is not going to work.
No.
Right, let's have a quick peek what's going on. Let's do a bit of triage. So I'm just going to select this entire query and go up to the top. Oops, there we go. And what I want to do here is I want to return row dot. What did it was data value, wasn't it?
It was data value, yes.
Let me just quickly check something. No, it is null for everything. Hang on. No, let's do this first. Because I've just realised that maybe we don't have values for those.
Huh? No, should have.
Yeah, okay, right. So I have a suspicion. So if we go back to this original query, and if we order by date descending, can I do it like this? I don't think I can. I'm going to get rid of category for now, and then we can have play later. So I have a suspicion, and I think that maybe we don't have values for spend in the early years. There we go. So we have that data. It's all fine.
Okay.
It's just that we don't have that data in there. So let's rewrite this query.
Well, then we can ignore where there's no.
Exactly.
Yep.
So add in category. And we're going to say where Cruise is very laggy. I don't know why it's so slow, but it is what it is. So let's do s.value.
Yeah, it is it is a little bit laggy, but
not. I think that's my machine being a bit slow. Is not null. Try again. There we go. That's more like it. So there you go. So there's. Oh, I don't know why it keeps popping away. It's a bit frustrating because you can't see the query. So you can see there that we've got them for all of the categories now. So you can see we're doing them per month. And so some of these where we've got multiple, you can see you got the date, multiple categories, and you see the value. So the only thing here is we are going to be bringing back credit and debit. So we can kind of answer my question per month. It's a bit of a
maybe, yeah.
But we're probably going to want to exclude all of these things, and we only really want fuel, hospitality, these kind of things. So we can do a bit of an edit around that. So let's do a bit of tweaking to our query, and we can do that by saying we're going to sort of filter out some of these categories. So let's just remind ourselves. I'm going to pin this query because we're going to keep coming back to that one. And I'm just going to get rid of some of these windows. Maybe that'll help speed things up a little bit. Okay, cool. So let's just remind ourselves quickly of what are the different categories that we have. So we're going to do match C category. Return C dot type. Order by C dot type. And we can see we've got here apparel, consumables, credit. So basically the only thing we care about are, and I'm going to cheat here, so I'm going to just do the short ones. So if we do, I'm going to just write myself a note here of the array of which ones we're interested in. So they are apparel, consumables, durables,
and fuel.
Good old fuel. I bet you that's gone up because everyone's been doing a staycation.
Yeah.
Hospitality. Oh, go on then. We can put these in because I can just copy paste them, can't I? Actually, I can copy them with a quote as well. Save all that typing effort. Non-retail. And you've got services. So those are our categories that we care about.
Yeah.
Right. So what we can do, I'm going to take this handily created array. And let's go back into this query here. And let's do with my array as cats. So what I'm doing here is, so wid's a really powerful keyword. So you can use that to either remember some variables that you've been using previously in the query. What you can do as well, and I like this a lot, is I also use it as my start point. If there's a bunch of strings or values or a threshold that I want to use, I'll use it like this as well. And here's an array that I want to use, and I'm just sticking at the top of the query saying, it's cats as my categories. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to filter stuff in here. I'm going to say where and c.type in my array. So this is now going to filter out and make sure we just pull back the things that are in my array. And if I run this query again, there we go. Look at this. So we've just pulled out the stuff that we're interested in. And there we go. We are sorted. Right, I'm going to take a copy of that query because we can talk about that in the write-up later.
Mm-hmm.
Right, let's go back to the question that you're asking. So we want to know which is the highest spend for each month. So we're going to do it like this. We're going to use with again. We're going to say, this is going to be, I'm just trying to figure out how we do this. It's a bit of bit of a mouthful with this one, because I think what we're going to say is we want. Oh, right. So we want to do something where there's probably going to be a better way of doing this, but this is one way how I'm thinking we can do this. So we're going to do with d dot date c dot with d, sorry, hang on, with d s c order by this is now where we're going to be testing it that it works properly. Order by d dot value and spend now, s dot value spending. So this, by virtue, this is where we're kind of cheating a little bit, because we know that we've got one category, each category is mentioned per month, and we know each category's got one-to-one relationship with value per month. So it's a bit of a cheat here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort them in descending order. So it's going to be the biggest date, but also it's going to be the biggest value. So that's going to be grouping those. Now, this will start to make sense as to what's going on. So if we now return these values, I'm going to get rid of the order by. We're going to start getting the highest date and then the highest category associated. So the highest date is... Oh, do we not have newer stuff? What's going on here? This is not doing what I was expecting it to do. So it should be the order by date.value and then start descending. So this should be... Oh, this does not make sense. Let me just get rid of this to begin with, see what's going on.
Yeah, so I think.
So I don't know why when I put in because it should order first by d value, and then the next thing it should order by is spent. I don't know why it's not doing that. Well, that's frustrating.
Yeah, so now we have the most recent month. Yeah, okay.
Huh. I don't think I can do more than one order by. I will try it and see what happens. I don't think you can do this. It should complain at me, but we can have a quick peek at the docs. Exactly. I didn't think we'd be able to do this. So I don't know why it's not doing what I was expecting it to do. But let's just quickly talk about the methodology, and then I'll look this up and write this up because we are coming to time. So what I'm going to do here, so while I'm doing this, the idea is I'm ordering things and I should be able to order the biggest value for stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So theoretically, we should have ordered by the date and then we're ordering by the highest value. And then what we would do is we'd then do this, which is going to be with, and obviously now, maybe we're interested in the spend. I'm going to say no, we're not interested in the spend. So let's just say we'll do the category back. Then what we'd do, we'd do with date, and then we'd collect the category dot type as a collection. And then what we'd be able to do is we would then return the date, and then I would return the first item in the category. So it'd be col 0, because that'll be the first item in there as category. Category, I can't spell. And then the idea here, this would then return us the date of the item and what was the highest category. So that's the thing. So what you see here, this line here is where I'm doing that logic to get the highest value item. Mm-hmm. And then I'd be able to get the category. So we're out of time, so we've almost answered the question. So I just need to figure out where I've gone wrong with the ordering values there. But I will go away and have a look at that, and you will find, so in about sort of a day or so, we will have the write-up to this week here as well. So if you want to have a look at the data, the queries that we've done, you will find it there in about a day or so. So give me a chance to update that. So apart from that, so I think we are to time, so I will go away and fix that query. But hopefully you've got the principles there of how we're answering that question, if nothing else. And yeah, so that's another episode.
Yeah, cool. Thank you very much, Lju. I think that was cool, interesting data set for sure. So we'll see.
We'll fix it,
we can fix it exactly. Maybe my question was a little bit too
No. Totally. It's a relatively straightforward question. I just need to figure out what's happening with the ordering there.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you for joining us today. Thank you for participating. Like Lju just mentioned, we will put up the text and the queries on the GitHub repository, so you can check it out yourselves. Yeah.
Brilliant. Wow.
Do give Aura a try yourselves.
Yeah. If you've got any data sets, let us know. If you want us to have a play with something, all welcome. And otherwise, have a fabulous day, and we'll be back next week.
Exactly. Thank you. See you soon.
Cheers.
Take care.
See you later. Bye.
Bye.